Hi folks, and welcome back once again to Softube. My name is George and I'm here with the latest exciting new product information for you. The big headline today is Clouds by Mutable Instruments, a brand new addition add-on module to our modular synthesizer. It was very well known and loved in hardware, this module, for taking audio in and doing crazy things with it. It's a granular texture synthesizer, which means that it takes that audio and it splits it into grains or droplets, which you can then manipulate at will. And it can do some pretty fun things, as I will now demonstrate. I'm going to show you in a couple of moments how I made the music for the product launch video. Out of nothing but a single sample of a droplet of water and a few clouds modules in various different setups. But first, I think we'll take a look at the basics. What does it do? How does it work? Etc. So let's load up an instance of Modular Effects and insert a clouds module. Now, we have this loop of a droplet here, but as soon as we turn on our Modular Effects plugin, it becomes silent because we haven't connected our audio. So here comes the audio in to the input there, and the audio out comes to our main outputs. And now we hear a sort of ghostly version of that drip. And it sounds ghostly partly because of the envelope shape of the droplets that we're allowing through. On the right-hand side, it's a smooth pan window shape. In the middle, a triangle, and you hear it becomes a bit clearer. And to the far left, a square. But also, slightly, it's because there are 4 buttons here you can click, which correspond to 4 functions of this blend knob. And what we're hearing is a bit of feedback, which as a default is included in the patch. But let's take that away and we hear a nice clear drop now. Now it is possible to process audio live as it flows through clouds as a sort of stream, but first of all we'll try freezing the buffer and getting one of those droplet sounds saved into the module. So now I think it's in there. Let's find it by using the position knob. There it is. There's the sound of a drip hidden in there. And if I bring out the size and set the density to a regular sound, we'll hear that drip again. The density knob is kind of cool. If you turn it to the left, you will hear a regular reoccurrence of your droplet or grain. And if you turn it to the right, you'll hear an irregular occurrence, increasing in frequency as you go to the extreme in both directions, which can be a very cool effect. But let's for now just set it to a regular flow of droplets. So now, of course, we can use the size knob to hear the whole sample or just a very short fraction of it. And using the position, we can scrub through to find the particular instant that we like in that sample. So let's say we wanted to make a kick drum, for example. We could find something with a little bit of body, pitch it down using this pitch shifting knob. Check out the different envelope shapes. Maybe something about there. Let's just slow it down slightly. And there we have an almost plausible kick drum already. Maybe we want to add a bit of reverb to that. So we click there and the built-in reverb becomes a part of the sound. Isn't that nice? You've got a pretty plausible kick drum out of a drop of water there. What about a snare drum though? Maybe we want a snare drum. Let's reset the pitch and find another position within that sample. Yeah, that's got a bit more trebly attacking shash, hasn't it? And then it's all just about finding sweet spots. So of course then, in combination with other modules, this can be used to create all kinds of crazy sounds and effects out of pretty much any audio source you like. Like, for example, this kick drum. Or this snare sound. This kind of left-right hi-hat. Or even kind of tonal or melodic sounds like these bass noises up at the top here. or these, which are a kind of ghostly vocal sample almost. And these all came out of that same droplet of water. So let's take the kick drum, for example, and have a look at the patch. It has two clouds modules, and it has a sequencer triggering the individual grain. So the density of the first clouds module here is set to the dead center, so nothing at all is being automatically triggered by the clouds module, but the trigger is coming from my door synced sequencer, so that I can have that kick drum sound happening exactly where I want it. So that's in there. But if you, for example, just take the out from the first clouds module, you'll hear that it is just the drip pitched down, chopped very, very short, and fed into a saturation knob, feeding back into the same module, then out to another clouds module to be pitched down a little further, and so on and so forth. You end up with a nice beefy kick drum using some of that built-in reverb and so forth, and being triggered where I want it to by the sequencer built into Modular. So nice and simple. The sort of makeshift hi-hat sound of a drip shooting left and right I made in a fairly similar way, to be honest, by just sampling that droplet and then triggering it using this sequencer. And here we have an LFO affecting the position knob by CV control with modulation of that position, so you hear a different portion of the drip with each movement. We have some stereo spread, as you can hear. And we have a random voltage generator affecting the pitch with the voltage per octave input of that sample, so that you get a little slight fluctuation to give it some life. But perhaps my favorite sound of all is that ghostly kind of vocal sample almost, which again is deceptively simply created just from that same droplet of water. If I patch the output of the first of these three clouds modules straight to the output, you'll hear that it's just triggering that drip regularly. So this sequencer here is sending a regular trigger to that first clouds module. However, we've then sent it on to the input of the next clouds module, which is doing some pitch shifting, controlled by the LFO on the right hand side here. It's going to move the pitch of that sound up and down whilst also trimming it. So there's the output of that module there, which again we can manipulate like crazy. And then finally this last module is adding a bit of reverb and so forth to make it a weird and ghostly sound. And so very quickly you can piece up a whole sound world out of just one very simple noise and turn it into at least a moderately banging track. So try it out yourself. But before you do, I want to just show you a couple more things that Clouds can do with live audio streaming through it. So I've got some drums here that I want to send through Clouds. Let's hear them without first of all. But let's load up modular effects on the drum bus here and get playing. One instance of Clouds, patch the audio in. Let's do it in stereo for fun, shall we? And out, left, right. So again, we hear that ghostly thing. Let's reset it to no feedback. And a triangle shape there. So now we have the audio flowing through Clouds. What can we do with it? Well, we can create a delay, for example. Let's choose the wet-dry blend control. We'll move it all the way over to almost dry. And then we'll just move the position back slightly so that the wet signal is delayed. Pretty cool. And of course we can add feedback. Careful. So that's a nice way to use the module as a delay, as a programmable delay. You can do whatever you like with that. Or you can do some slightly funkier things using the CV control possibilities of Modular. Why don't we add an oscillator, some sort of LFO perhaps, and use that to trigger the freeze function while we're listening to this drum loop. So I'll set it all the way wet now, and I'll patch this square wave output to the freeze input of the clouds module. Now once I press play, we'll hear that there's some crazy stuff going on. Every time that square wave peaks, we're hearing the drum loop freeze. And if we speed things up, we can make them pretty choppy. How about we play with the audio quality? Along the top here, these 4 red buttons allow us to choose between 16-bit stereo and mono, or 8-bit stereo and mono. And the lower your quality gets, the more sound you can store in that buffer, incidentally. But you also get a really cool 8-bit crushed noise. And you can even do more complex things. Croffer, the product owner for Modular here at Softube, has created a bunch of cool presets which you can use. If you come into our preset browser and type clouds, you will see a bunch of cool options, like, for example, this robotizer patch, which uses the drum beat itself with an envelope follower to trigger that freeze function. So it's in time. So whenever the signal falls below a certain level, it will trigger that freeze. And another really cool thing he's done here is use one of our performance panels in Modular to take out those 4 blend mode functions and assign them to individual faders, so you can take control of all 4 much more intuitively than you ever could with the hardware module. So why don't we add some reverb? It's right there, feedback. A lot of fun. And if we want to hear the dry signal, we can just do that. So as you can doubtless see, Clouds is a great deal of fun. You can use this for any number of different interesting applications in your modular system. It really adds more dimensions than you had before. So check it out on our website, grab one today, and we'll look forward to hearing from you how much you're enjoying it. Leave a comment below and tell us. Cheers, bye-bye then.